a lab accident that rewrote drug chemistry, a butterfly that forgot how to age, and a continent quietly cracking in half. These aren't predictions or theories. Every single one is peer-reviewed, published, and already changing what we thought we knew. Buckle in. Number 10. T-Rex. Took 40 years to grow up, nearly twice as long as we thought. Here's a humbling thought. We've been studying T-Rex for over 150 years and apparently missed something fundamental about its entire life. A 2026 study published in PeerJ analyzed growth rings in 17 tyrannosaur leg bones, the same principle as counting tree rings, and found that T-Rex didn't reach its full 8-ton size until around age 40, not 25 as decades of textbooks claimed. The team from Oklahoma State University used polarized light imaging to reveal hidden rings the previous studies had simply missed. The wild implication: a 15-year-old T-Rex was already a formidable apex predator, and it was still only halfway through growing. Teenagers, essentially, running ecosystems. Some of the most famous T-Rex fossils in museums, the study hints they may not even be T-Rex at all. Number 9. Humans went back around the moon and found craters nobody had ever seen. On April 6, 2026, 4 astronauts aboard NASA's Orion spacecraft completed the first crewed lunar flyby since Apollo 17 in 1972, and they broke the all-time human spaceflight distance record at 252,756 miles from Earth. During a 7-hour flyby of the lunar far side, the crew became the first humans to directly view the Oriental Basin, a 600-mile-wide impact crater straddling the near and far sides, in its entirety. Mission Commander Reed Wiseman was the first person in history to observe the full structure. They also spotted previously uncatalogued craters, and mission specialist Jeremy Hansen described surface plateaus with unique greenish hues not seen anywhere else on the moon. A color anomaly scientists say could reveal mineralogical data previously inaccessible. The crew returned with thousands of images that NASA says are brimming with science. Number 8. Africa is splitting in half, and hot springs are the proof. In May 2026, a team from Oxford published results in Frontiers in Earth Science that confirmed something geologists have been circling for years. The African continent is actively rifting along the Kafue Rift in Zambia, a 2,500-kilometer fracture system running from Tanzania to Namibia. The proof came from hot springs. Samples showed helium isotope ratios matching those of the East African Rift system, a fully developed ancient rift, meaning mantle fluids are already reaching the surface through cracks that penetrate the entire crust. First co-author Ruta Carolite confirmed, "This is the first time we have geochemical evidence that mantle fluids are reaching the surface in this part of Africa. If the process continues over millions of years, sub-Saharan Africa will split into 2 separate landmasses. The continent-scale consequences are still being mapped." Number 7. A lab accident at Cambridge just rewrote how drugs are made. PhD candidate David Vahey forgot to add the catalyst and accidentally changed pharmaceutical chemistry. Published March 12, 2026 in Nature Synthesis, the Cambridge discovery found that an LED lamp at room temperature can trigger a self-sustaining chain reaction that forms new carbon-carbon bonds, the molecular skeleton of every drug ever designed, without the toxic heavy metals or harsh acid conditions that current manufacturing requires. They called it anti-Friedel Crafts because it reverses a 150-year-old chemical reaction considered fundamental. The real breakthrough is timing. This reaction can now happen late in drug production, meaning chemists can fine-tune a nearly finished molecule instead of dismantling and rebuilding from scratch. This has direct implications for lower drug costs, faster development timelines, and the possibility of drugs that were previously too complex or expensive to produce commercially. Number 6. There is water ice buried under the moon's south pole, and we now know exactly where. India's Chandrayaan-2 orbiter has been quietly scanning the lunar south pole since 2019, and in May 2026, the Physical Research Laboratory in Ahmedabad published what researchers are calling the most compelling evidence yet: the orbiter's dual-frequency synthetic aperture radar, the first full fully polarimetric radar ever deployed on a lunar mission, identified strong ice signatures beneath the floors of 4 doubly shadowed craters near the South Pole, where temperatures never rise above -248 degrees Celsius. The standout finding was a 1.1-kilometer crater inside the Faustini Basin, showing both the ice radar signature and low-bait rim morphology, a flow-like crater rim suggesting the impact hit an ice-rich layer beneath the surface. If confirmed by future missions, this is the location of rocket fuel and drinking water for every crewed moon mission in the next century. Number 5. This butterfly barely ages, and scientists think it's telling us something about human longevity. A butterfly that lives almost a year sounds unremarkable until you learn its closest relatives die in 14 days. A June 16, 2026 study in Nature Communications, led by the University of Bristol and the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute, found that heliconius butterflies, tropical species found across South and Central America, have evolved lifespans up to 25 times longer than their genetic relatives, with one species, Heliconius hewitsoni, reaching 348 days. More remarkable, at least one species, H. hecale, showed essentially zero physical decline with age. Grip strength tests on older individuals showed no deterioration. They have evolved slower aging, not just longer living. Researchers say this makes Heliconius a highly promising new model for research into the biology of aging, a natural evolutionary experiment in staying young that has no human-designed equivalent. Number 4. Global warming is headed towards global boiling. Scientists have long measured warming as a relatively steady climb of about 0.2 degrees Celsius per decade since the 1970s. A March 2026 paper from the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, published in Geophysical Research Letters, delivered a different number, 0.35 degrees Celsius per decade since 2015, nearly double. And this is the first time that acceleration has been confirmed as statistically significant rather than noise. Critically, the researchers stripped out El Niño, volcanic eruptions, and solar cycles before running the analysis. The acceleration was still there. Every major temperature dataset confirmed it. The finding means the 1.5 degrees Celsius Paris Agreement threshold, previously projected as a mid-century risk, could be breached before 2030. We can now demonstrate a strong and statistically significant acceleration, co-author Grant Foster stated in the AGU press release. This is not a warning. This is a measurement. Number 3. Ozempic appear to protect your bones. Semaglutide already does things nobody expected: cardiovascular protection, mental health improvement, addiction reduction. In June 2026, a Stanford University team added one more to the list. Presented at Endo 2026 in Chicago and using health records from 59,879 patients, the retrospective study found that people on semaglutide experienced 15% fewer bone fractures than patients on other weight loss medications, even while losing more weight. This is counterintuitive because rapid weight loss typically accelerates bone density loss. The semaglutide group had 794 fractures versus 1,045 in the control group. The researchers at Stanford are calling it evidence of potential bone protective effects, suggesting semaglutide may actively support bone health through a mechanism beyond weight loss. Lead author Dr. Sun H. Kim stated the findings decoupled the traditional clinical concern of weight loss-induced skeletal decline. Prospective trials are now being designed to confirm why. Number 2. Amyloid drugs don't slow Alzheimer's. The pharmaceutical industry has poured billions into drugs that target amyloid beta peptides, the protein plaques found in the brains of Alzheimer's patients, under the theory that clearing those plaques would slow the disease. In 2026, a meta-analysis covering over 20,000 participants, published on Wikipedia's 2026 in Science page citing the primary study, concluded that these drugs do not meaningfully slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease at all. Some drugs that successfully cleared amyloid plaques in brain scans produced negligible real-world improvement in cognition or daily function. This doesn't mean Alzheimer's is untreatable. It means the amyloid hypothesis, which has directed most Alzheimer's research funding for 30 years, may be pointing at a symptom rather than the cause. The conclusion is reshaping where labs are directing new research. Neuroinflammation, metabolic factors, and the relationship between diabetes and dementia are now the front lines. Number 1. 1. An atom precision machine just built structures from carbon. This is the one that reads like science fiction. A May 26, 2026 preprint, cited in Wikipedia's Live 2026 in Science Log, reports the atomically precise mechanosynthesis of carbon structures on a hydrogenated silicon surface using inverted scanning tunneling microscopy. In plain language, researchers used a machine to place individual carbon atoms exactly where they wanted them, bonded them, and built molecular structures, one C2 unit at a time with confirmed repeatability. This is programmable matter at the atomic scale, the ability to fabricate structures by placing atoms the way a printer places ink. The paper demonstrates controlled CC bond formation, repeated unit placement, and stepwise chain growth. The researchers describe it as a possible route toward programmable, atomically precise fabrication. If this scales, it is the beginning of manufacturing that starts not at the nanoscale, but at the atomic scale. Materials with 0 defects by design. 10 discoveries. 6 months of 2026. T-Rex didn't grow up when we thought. A butterfly cracked aging. A continent is cracking in half. An accident in Cambridge changed chemistry, and we found water on the moon and confirmed our planet is heating faster than anyone's models predicted.